Well, hello. This is Solomon here, and I'd just like to make a couple of observations that maybe some of you out there have noticed as well. Anyway, here goes. Well, let's go back to normal here. So I know a guy that's been with a femon for about 8 years, I believe it is. They're living together, they're not married. And she goes away on holiday by herself, actually, with a friend of hers, a girlfriend. And the man seems to be quite alright about that. Then I asked him, do you trust her? And he said, of course I trust her, I know her very well. You never know a femon, and I'll tell you why. A male is brought up in a home, and he grows up with his mum and dad, or his mum, or whatever, and maybe he lives in a small town or a big city, and he makes friends, and he kind of just keeps growing up and has loads of different experiences. And no two guys have the same experience, so the two guys are going to be different. They're going to have different personalities when they become a man. And those personalities will stay with them for the rest of their life. They may deviate a little bit, but the core personality will remain. Femons, on the other hand, are very different. And I've noticed through my life that femons are not very deep. They do have a rudimentary personality, but there's a lot of blank spaces in their personality that get filled in when they meet a man. Because I've seen a femon go with one man who's a certain way, and she changes that way. And then when she meets a different man, a completely different man, she's completely different. It's almost as if the femons have a transient personality that changes all the time. And here's something else that you don't see on the news or anything. Femons are very prone to addiction, to drugs, to alcohol. You see, I think a lot of men who are got a relationship going put their feelings and what they think onto their femon. And he thinks they're human, so they must think the same way. But they don't. Femons don't have things called guilt or remorse. And femons, from the time they've begun, have always been unstable. It's a well-known fact. And when I was a young man in my day, people used to just accept that as a fact. And yet all of a sudden they think these femons are fantastic, and they should be in all these fantastic jobs now. That sure is an accident waiting to happen. And of course these new breed of femons, they don't need a man, they don't need anybody, they're strong and empowered. But I've never seen it, and it's a crock of shit. They're either turning to the government wanting more, or phoning the police. But the good news is that more and more men are witnessing what femons truly are like, how really unstable and uncaring they really are. And I don't think they will ever stand up alone by themselves, because then they'd have to blame themselves for something, and that's something I've never seen them do. That was just an observation from a man that's spent his whole life watching, listening, and learning. And by the time I die, which won't be long, I should be pretty damn smart. Take it easy.